The bills just keep going up and up and up, and all we hear from the Labour government now is more subsidies for green energy. How about £3,750 off a new electric vehicle? How about somebody putting a gully into a pavement so that you can put your cable down into it and run it into the car? Let's talk to Stanley Johnson, author, former MEP and environmentalist. Stanley, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
We're not getting any closer to net zero, and it's just costing us more and more money. What say you?
Well, we have to get closer to net zero.
Why?
We have to, because all the evidence is that life is going to become more and more intolerable for more and more people if we don't continue the path of trying to get towards net zero. And of course, that is particularly going to affect thousands and millions of people who don't actually live in the fairly equable climate which we have in the United Kingdom, but who live in other parts of the world. And the pressures, for example, you've been talking about migration. Well, one of the factors pushing the migration issue is, of course, climate change in the third world. It's a crucial issue. We have to do something about it.
Well, you say that, but I mean, they don't have to move here. They move here because they get a free house and a free hotel room and a free phone and a free amount of money to spend. That's why they come here. They're not coming here because of the weather in Sudan. There happens to be a war going on there.
Well, one of the issues, you're perfectly right, is, as it were, the pull factor of this country. Yes. I don't think I disagree with you on that. But there is also a push factor too, and part of that push factor is the impact of climate change.
Well, can you tell me from which country people are emigrating because of the climate being so intolerable that it's different from what used to be? You know, it's always been hot in Africa, hasn't it? It's not like it's getting any hotter.
Of course, it's hot in Africa. It's hot in many parts of the world. But yes, I mean, I would say that the thrust also from North Africa in particular is very, very acute, because the streams of refugees coming in from North Africa, from Northwest Africa, from the Middle East. That's where the pressure is coming, and we have to do something about it.
Yeah, from where though? Which country are you talking about?
Well, you can think of Somalia, you can think of Nigeria, you can think of the West African countries. You've got other people coming in from.
There's loads of people. I know people who live in Nigeria. It's perfectly nice there, and there's people who live in Somalia who don't like it because there's a war going on. It's nothing to do with the weather, surely.
I'm not saying that the climate change is the only reason for.
Well, you said it was.
No, I didn't say it was the only reason. I said it's one of the reasons.
So there's a war going on. Also, I don't like the weather, so I think I'll just leave.
Yeah, of course you're right. War, famine, disaster.
Yeah, war, famine, disaster, and it's a bit wet.
All those things contribute.
Yeah.
That's certainly true.
Right. Listen, what do you think of Ed Miliband? He's not doing a very good job, is he?
He did do a good job. I mean, Ed Miliband has led the way for this country in, for example, pushing on the climate change issue.
Yeah, but he's not doing very well at it, though, is what my point is.
Well, I would have said that this country is still on track. It's still on track. We're moving in parallel with the efforts of other countries, particularly the European Union, to meet the targets which were set in the Paris Agreement.
Yeah, but the targets don't mean anything, though, Stanley. That's the trouble.
They may not mean anything to you, but they do mean anything to.
They don't mean anything to anybody that I talk to either, or anybody that listens to this show or watches it.
I do wonder, Mike. I do wonder who you talk to, because anybody.
I talk to the sensible people, Stanley. The people who every single day tell me their bills are going up, right? The people who tell me that they're paying more for their energy every single week that it passes. The people who tell me that because of green sort of ridiculous subsidies that they have to pay more and more for everything.
And have you talked to anybody who says, well, we don't really expect to have 40-degree temperatures in the UK, and yet we may be getting 40-degree temperatures in the UK?
Well, we may be having a war with Russia, according to the Prime Minister, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Well, we're certainly getting 36-degree temperatures, and that is a fact.
When was it 36?
It's been 36 all over the place, I can tell you.
What, in Britain?
In the last few years, and the last few weeks.
It was 32 the other day in London. It wasn't 36. I think you've been spending too much time in China, Stanley, listening to their propaganda.
You know, my view is Ed Miliband. We're lucky to have him. I think we are lucky to have him.
Well, I mean, we're lucky to have him because he's making so many blunders. Yesterday, he made a blunder about Claire Coutinho, said that said that she didn't bother turning up for work. He didn't realise she was on maternity leave. Have a look at this.
I will just briefly say that yesterday the Secretary of State said I was hiding when I was in fact with my 6-month-old baby, who I know he's aware of. So on behalf of all young mums who face those kinds of comments in their first few weeks back to work, can I gently suggest he reflects on those remarks?
I completely respect her decision to be with her young baby, and there was no offence intended. I think it's very, very important that we understand the needs of new parents and indeed parents across the country.
He should have said sorry, really, shouldn't he?
Well, whether he had to say young baby is another matter. That's a kind of etymological point, a quibble which I might come with. But just going back, we are looking forward now in September to another environmental conference on climate change. Just because we've had.
Oh, this is the one in Brazil that everybody's going to fly into. The one that they've wrecked the Amazon rainforest in order to put a big road in, right? And a load of hotels. That one, is that the one you're talking about?
I first went to Brazil in 1959 when there was a enormous forest which was called the Amazon forest. It's much smaller now than it is. But these
but it's smaller now than it was before they announced the next conference, because they've ripped out a load of it. They put a road in.
Yeah, I read that too.
Yeah, well, that's not very environmentally friendly, is it? How can you support that?
I'm sorry about it also. Of course I'm sorry about it, but I too believe that the environmental targets which we have for climate change need to be hung on to. They need to, and we need to work in lockstep. Yes, of course, with the Chinese, but yes, of course, with the European Union. All these people we need to work with, and we will. We will.
Well, we'll see. Do you think the Tory party have finished as a result of this Afghanistan leak story?
I think the Tory party is going through a very bad time altogether. I don't think it was Mike Wallace who asked for the super injunction to be extended.
Certainly wasn't Mike Wallace. No, he's the guy that used to be the CBS anchor.
Yeah,
it wasn't Ben Wallace either. It wasn't Ben Wallace. No, it was Grant Shapps. We think it was Grant Shapps.
I think that's an important one, and needs to be looked at. I'm not the expert on this, but I do think it is part of that wider issue. Are we on top of migration? And the answer is, I'm 100% with you on this. We are not on top of migration, and the Tory party, I've got to say, failed dismally on this topic.
They did, absolutely right. Stanley, good to talk to you. Speak to you soon, I'm sure.